Well, I suppose a great place to start a course on reporting services is to answer a very basic question, and that is, what exactly is reporting services? And what is this thing going to do for me? Well, let's go over some basics here, and we will get into every one of these aspects in a lot more detail as we go through the course. First up, reporting services is really a kind of a family of technologies that are actually part of SQL Server. So this is a SQL Server tool. And when you purchase a license to SQL Server, you have access to reporting services. So this is something you don't hear very often in the world anymore, and especially in the Microsoft world, and that is, hey, this is free. It comes along with SQL Server. You don't have to pay any more money, no more out-of-pocket expense for this. The next thing is this has been integrated with Microsoft's Visual Studio products. So if you've ever done any kind of development, say with Visual Basic.net, C#, any of that stuff in the Visual Studio.net world, which by the way, Microsoft has now dropped the .net, they're just calling it Visual Studio. But if you've ever developed with that, you're going to feel right at home here because you've got a lot of the same feel and look. And while you may not necessarily open Visual Studio to do this, you're going to notice some pretty cool things if you have Visual Studio on the machine. But anyway, we're using the shell of Visual Studio to build these reports. Microsoft has also, by the way, introduced some tools called Report Builder, which we'll also deal with in the course. And this allows people who really aren't programmers to be able to build some kind of on-the-fly reports to get at information that they might need. So another incredible tool here. Now, the bottom line on reporting services is that this is a comprehensive reporting solution. And this word right here, solution, is absolutely positively correct. This is a solution to your reporting headaches and irritations and aggravations. So let's kind of break that down a little bit. First of all, with reporting services, we have a really incredible tool that we use to actually create our reports. Now, report creation may feel just a little funky at first, but I promise you, by the time you've done your second example report, bells and whistles and lights are going to be flashing and buzzing and screaming, and you're going to have some really cool ideas start to germinate really quickly. This is some really, really fascinating stuff. Secondly, report maintenance. Now, if you're watching this video and you have been involved with reporting data, you know what I'm talking about here, about what a hassle it is, number one, to create the reports and finally get them the way the users want them to be, but then to maintain those reports. Because once you provide an end user with a report, then they see what you can get them, and then they start asking for more and more and more and more. Can I see it subtotaled this way? Can I see an average? Can you compare it to the square root of the amount of energy coming off the sun on Tuesday afternoon? All that kind of stuff, right? So very cool to be able to maintain these reports, make changes to them, and so forth. The next one is report delivery, and this is another huge one because it's very important to a lot of the end users to get the report in various formats. Now, in reporting services, especially at the 2008 level, using SQL Server 2008 version, we can provide reports to our end users through a browser, and that's actually been there from the beginning on reporting services. We can provide them in PDF format, which is huge because a lot of times users will say, I need a report, but I need to be able to print it out, and I need it to look right. And I don't need to spend 45 minutes hassling with this thing. So they can do PDF. They can print this out in Excel format. As a matter of fact, in 2008, they can now print it out in Microsoft Word format, which makes printing a lot easier. We can also package these reports and deliver them to the end user based on a schedule and deliver them to their desktop. So there's some really, really cool things we can do with reports as far as getting them into the hands of our end users. And then we have an issue that is solved here, and that is report access control. Just because I build a report doesn't mean I want everybody to be able to see this report. Now think about this, especially if you're in a large company. You may actually have legal requirements that mandates that you prevent certain eyes from seeing these reports. And of course, I'm thinking obviously with the medical world, with HIPAA regulations and so forth. There's going to be details in certain reports that you simply cannot allow to share throughout the organization. A lot of management reports, they may be making decisions about workforce size, about all kinds of things. And again, we need to be able to control who can access these reports. And what's really cool about this is if you don't have adequate ability, or if you don't have the adequate access level to see a report, it never shows up. You don't even know it exists out there. And we'll talk about each one of these pieces as we go farther and farther through the course. So what you're going to find is the answer to the question, what is reporting services? It is simply a comprehensive tool that allows us to create our reports, and we have a lot of leeway and a lot of cool things we can do with those. We can do some very complex reporting here. We can maintain our reports. They're stored in a SQL Server database. We can deliver these reports in a number of different forms, and we can control who sees these reports. Okay, so that is what reporting services is. Now let's get on through the course here and get our hands on each one of these pieces.